World History students, these are your notes on the Indus River Valley Civilization, Part 3 of our unit on river valleys. So when we talk about the Indus River Valley Civilization, we're talking about the northern part of what we refer to as the Indian subcontinent. So if we look at Asia as a whole, India is a little bit separated from the rest of the continent by some geographic barriers. Those include the Hindu Kush Mountains to the northwest and the Himalayan Mountains to the northeast. Then to the south we have the Indian Ocean. Today, those are the countries of India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. The two major rivers in this part of the world are the Indus River and the Ganges River, and we'll look at a map of those together. So here are our rivers. The Indus River is in red over here, just south of the Hindu Kush Mountains, and the Ganges River is over here, just south of the Himalayan Mountains. So India was affected by a really important geographic pattern, and still is affected by the same geographic pattern today, and that's monsoons. Monsoons are winds that blow across the Deccan Plateau, which you'll remember is the southern part of India from when you made your River Valley Civilization map. So we have winter monsoons and summer monsoons. In the winter, there's dry air that blows in a westerly direction, and in summer, there's wet, hot air that blows eastward. And when those summer monsoons come, they bring a lot of rain and they bring a lot of flooding. That helped the people in the River Valley civilizations who needed the rivers to flood and deposit fertile soil or silt along the banks so that they could farm and have crops. When the summer monsoons didn't come, which sometimes happened, there was drought and famine that occurred. So drought means that there's no water, and famine means that there is not enough food for people to eat. Here's a map that shows you our winter monsoons and our summer monsoons. Remember, here's the Deccan Plateau, here are our rivers and our mountain barriers. So if you live in the ancient Indus River Valley, what do you have to deal with? You have yearly floods that bring rich soil. That's great, but they're unpredictable, so when they don't come, that can be damaging to your crops and to your civilization. Those rivers, the Indus and Ganges, are so strong that sometimes when they flooded, they would change course. So imagine you have your fields built on the side of the river, and then the river is flowing so strongly that it moves, it goes in a different direction, and it wipes out your fields, and maybe it wipes out your home and the surrounding area. And again, those monsoons are unpredictable. So the flooding that you're expecting to happen to fertilize your crops doesn't always show up. When we study the Indus River Valley civilization, it's hard to do because we don't know very much about it. The main reason for that is that no one has been able to decipher, to figure out their writing system. We know they had a writing system, we do not know what it means. We understand the later writing system that was developed here, and we'll talk about that later. It's called Sanskrit, but we do not understand the pictogram system that they first used. And because of all this flooding, many artifacts might have been washed away, maybe even entire cities, so we don't know what we're missing. What we do know is that there was agriculture, there was farming here as early as 7,000 BCE. So remember, we have to count backwards to 7,000, so that's 9,000 years ago. We know that about 5,000 years ago, by 3200 BCE, there were permanent villages in the Indus River Valley, and that they started to build large cities. And the two major cities that we have the remains of and know the most about are called Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro. Sometimes you hear the Indus River Valley civilization referred to as the Harappan civilization. They're the same thing. These cities were very carefully planned. We're going to look at some pictures, and I want you to think about what it tells us that they had such carefully planned cities. So here are two major cities in the Indus River Valley. Here's Harappa, here's Mohenjo-Daro. These are both located in modern-day Pakistan. So if we look at the border here between India and Pakistan, these are both located in actually modern-day Pakistan, but very close to India. So here's our first picture of the planned city. These are the remains of walls of the buildings in the city. We can see this aerial view shows us the streets. So we have these right angles, we have high organization, we have everything laid out in a grid, just like a modern city might be. Here is another view of our planned cities. So again, we can see the straight lines of the street down here in the front. We can see the buildings with their right angles and their careful planning. So what this means is that the governments decided before they constructed these cities how everything was going to be laid out, and they had a logical system for where to put things and how to add to those things. So take a minute to think and write about what do these carefully planned cities tell us about the knowledge and skills of the people who lived in the ancient Indus River Valley civilization. What else do we know about Harappan culture? We know that they developed a written language based on pictograms. We don't know what it means. The artifacts there suggest that this was a peaceful and prosperous society. It was probably a theocracy. Remember, a theocracy, like in Egypt and Mesopotamia, is one where the government and the religion are controlled by the same group of people and have overlap in their values and their rules. There's probably an early form of the Hindu religion, and we'll talk about Hinduism in a little more detail in the future. And we know that they traded with other cultures, including Mesopotamia. We've found artifacts that we know were made in India in Sumer, in that ancient city-state from Mesopotamia. What happened to the Indus River Valley culture? It ended in around 1700 BCE, so around 4,000 years ago. We don't really know why. There are some different theories. Maybe it was destroyed by earthquakes. Maybe the people there over-farmed. They used up the fertility of the soil. If you don't move your crops around enough, they suck out all the nutrients out of the ground, and then you can't farm there anymore. So maybe the people left for that reason. Or maybe there was an invasion from some people from Europe who are called the Aryans. This is not Aryans like Hitler and the Aryan race. These are a group of people who maybe lived in Europe and migrated into the Indus River Valley and then into the Indian subcontinent. There are some modern scholars who believe that the Aryans never existed, but we don't know for sure. Maybe someday someone will find something that will tell us the answer to that. But right now there is a debate among historians about whether or not number 3 could have happened. All right, that is the end of our notes on the Indus River Valley civilization.